Welcome back to the Marketing 101 for Small Business Owners podcast. I am your host, Philippa Channer, and in this episode, we're diving into the essential topic of creating a content strategy that resonates, specifically that resonates with your audience, not just you. So a content strategy, if you don't know, it is the cornerstone of effective content marketing. When it's done correctly, it should be guiding your efforts to engage and connect with your audience on a much deeper level. Today, we're doing just that. We're going to be going beyond the surface level of content marketing and into exploring the key components of crafting a content strategy that truly resonates with your audience on a much deeper level. I really hope you enjoy this message, get some good insights from it to really level up your marketing strategies. Let's start with the basics. Why a content strategy matters. A content strategy serves as the blueprint for your content marketing efforts. It's going to outline the goals you have for your organization. It's going to define your target audience. It spells out what your key messages are, and it details the distribution channels you're going to use to get that message out. Without a strategy in place, your content efforts risk being disjointed and ineffective. Next, we want to make sure that we're aligning our content with our business objectives. As I mentioned, one of the first steps in your content strategy is defining your goals. I can't stress this enough. I talk about this often on your channel. Your content strategy should align closely with your overall business objectives. Whether it's increasing brand awareness, driving website traffic, or generating leads, every piece of content should serve a specific purpose tied to your business goals. You can't or you shouldn't begin to create and distribute content until you have defined your goals and ensured that the content you create is strategically placed to help you reach those goals. Again, it's not just about driving the sales. It's not just about creating consistent content. It's creating consistent content that is aligned with your business goals. The next is the role of consistency and quality. So I just mentioned consistency. Consistency and quality are paramount in content strategy. When you have a consistent publishing schedule that is high quality content, it's going to help build trust and credibility with your audience, which is going to lead to stronger engagement and stronger brand loyalty. Yay, winning for all. And not only does it help set expectations for your audience in terms of when they're going to get that content and when they're going to learn from you, it also tremendously helps give you a routine in your own daily life, which should help streamline your business operations tremendously, especially for my solopreneurs out there doing everything on their own. Any little routine in your life can help the chaos seem less chaotic. And so that's why having a consistent content schedule is going to help, again, not only your audience, it's going to help you. The next thing we want to focus on is developing a targeted content plan. You want to do some audience research and persona development. Understanding your target audience is so important. You shouldn't, again, be creating content until you know who you're talking to and why. You need to conduct some thorough audience research to identify what their needs are, what their preferences are, and their pain points. Without this information, your content's going to fall flat because it's not meeting their needs. It's not resonating with them. So it's a great exercise to develop your buyer personas so that you can create content that resonates with specific segments of your audience. If you already have customers, awesome. What you want to do is go back to them or go back to your notes on your relationship with them and find out what drove them to the point of working with you. What were the problems they were having? What were the concerns they were facing and the challenges they wanted to overcome that you helped them overcome? That's your answer, and you should create content around those issues and problems. Next is your content mapping and editorial calendar. Now, content mapping involves aligning your content that you create with the buyer's journey. If you're familiar with the buyer's journey, there's several different versions out there. A simplified version is step 1, the awareness phase. They're aware that they have a problem that needs to be fixed. Step 2 is the research and decision phase. Basically, they're researching. They've gone from awareness of the problem to researching the problem. And hopefully when they're doing that research, your website or your social media content or wherever they're searching, your solution is coming up. And then the last step is them actually purchasing from you or forming a relationship with you and starting to be your client. That buyer's journey is important for the client, but it's also important for you. So when you create content that is mapped and aligned with the buyer's journey, you're creating a good experience from awareness to consideration and decision-making stages. When you map out that content with topics and formats that address each stage, that means you're meeting your audience where they are and answering the problems they have when they have them. That's a win-win again for everybody. So having an editorial calendar also helps you organize and schedule that content creation and get it distributed across all of your channels. I love to use stuff like Hootsuite or any other scheduler tools like that where you can map out the content and see how it flows, especially when you create that consistent schedule. And now you can see it on the calendar, line up and get it scheduled out ahead of time. It really helps you feel more confident in what you have going forward. The next step is diversifying your content creation, the kind of formats that you're using for your content. When it comes to content creation, often the default method for entrepreneurs is to select the content format that you like the most and are most comfortable with. I don't like creating video content, so I'm creating podcast. That was my preference. And honestly, this is a great way to get started in the content flow and getting that consistent content out and getting comfortable finding your voice and getting just going. You want it to be something that you enjoy because you can hear it when somebody's doing something, when somebody's making a video and they're not enjoying the experience, even though they enjoy what they're talking about, because they don't enjoy the experience of doing a video, there's a disconnect and you feel it and you see it. It's like, you don't really connect with it because there's this hesitation in their voice or whatever. You don't want to experience that if you're not ready for it. You want to create content that resonates. So going with something that you're comfortable with makes complete sense. However, you eventually need to grow and expand. Once you get really comfortable making consistent content in the way that you enjoy, then it's time to start exploring just different content formats to cater to your audience's preferences. Because not only do you want to be comfortable, you want your audience to be able to find the content in the way they want to hear it or see it or listen to it or read it. Because obviously that's what matters the most, is your audience finding it, learning about you, trusting you, and then buying from you. So if they're not able to find it and experience your content in a way that's comfortable for them, then unfortunately we're missing out. So we do have to eventually diversify your content. And this could include blog posts, videos, infographics, podcasts, and so much more, showing up live on different platforms. There's so many different ways now to show up. Diversifying your content, it's going to help keep your audience engaged, meet them where they are, and allows you to repurpose content across different channels. And it doesn't mean that you need to create each one individually. On a future episode, I'm going to share with you and I'm going to break down just how I create my content. Each week, I'm creating a podcast, a YouTube video, blog post, LinkedIn article, social media posts, and e-newsletter, all from one piece of content. And honestly, it takes me about an hour. Once I have the podcast recorded, I have so many tools to help me streamline the process to create all the other elements. So I will break that down for you, just not in today's episode. Don't have enough time for that. But the point is, diversify your content formats. It's really going to help not only you explore different creativity ways, it's going to help your audience connect with your content as well. All right, and the last piece of information today that again has 3 additional points is measuring your success and iterating. It's so important to make sure that you're consistently measuring just how successful you are and making adjustments when better results are needed. So the first step here is defining key performance indicators. First, we need to establish what these key performance indicators, the KPIs, are to measure the effectiveness of your content strategy. The good thing is, since we started this conversation with setting our goals, we're set. Your goals are the main thing that drive what your KPIs are. When you complete a goal that you've set for yourself, that is an indication of success. So now your KPIs are going to help you measure just how far you've come towards reaching those goals. If it's a year-long goal, if you're checking every quarter and seeing and measuring just how far you've come towards that goal. You'll know if you're on track, or if you need to speed up, or if you can pull back a little bit, or if you need to adjust your goal to a bigger level. Measuring it often is going to help give you an indication of just how much work you need to put in or pull back. And it's really going to help, again, your productivity and just make it aligned with your overall business goals. These kind of key metrics can include website traffic, engagement rates, lead generation, conversion rate, more. Again, it all depends on what you're doing. So you want to align KPIs with your business objectives to track progress accurately. There's no, yes, you can track KPIs that are not related to your business goals, because it's good to measure other stuff as well, because maybe you'll see something that will indicate, maybe you might discover an area of your business that could be stronger, and that maybe that leads to next year's goal or next quarter's goal. So totally fine to track KPIs that aren't related to your goals, but you definitely want to make sure that you know what your goals are and tracking those. Next is analyzing and optimizing performance. You want to be sure that you're regularly analyzing performance metrics to identify what's working and what's not. This could mean scheduling a quarterly CEO strategic planning day to look into your data. Use these data-driven insights to optimize your content strategy. This may involve tweaking content formats, like we talked about before, maybe tweaking your distribution channels, or maybe adjusting your messaging based on the audience feedback and performance rates. So good thing to do. Again, I suggest quarterly. If you can do it more, great, but quarterly is awesome. Again, to just see how you're progressing towards your goals. And then the last is continuous improvement and adaptation. Content marketing is an iterative process. It isn't a one and done kind of strategy. You want to be continuously monitoring and adapting your strategy based on the changing market trends, your audience preferences, and basically the competitive landscape. If you see some people who do what you do and all of them are starting to adapt a certain marketing tactic, you may want to figure out why and jump on the bandwagon as well. It is good to stand out and do things that are unique and different, but when it comes to trends, there is something behind them, and you want to know what is that trend and why, and see what are they achieving that you could be missing out on. You want to embrace the experimentation and the innovation of this process to stay ahead in the ever-evolving, ever-changing landscape of whatever your industry is. As we conclude today's episode, remember that crafting a content strategy that resonates requires a thoughtful planning process. It involves understanding your audience and a commitment to quality and consistency. Take the insights shared today and apply them to elevate your content marketing strategy efforts. I promise you it's going to help tremendously. And be sure to join us next week as we continue our exploration of content marketing strategy. This is Philippa Channer. I am signing off now. Until next time, you guys stay inspired. Keep creating content. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you sign up for your free consultation session with me. It is always available for you. Love to get to meet you, hear what you're going through, and offer some solutions for you. So great. You guys have a good week, and I'll talk to you next week.